Well, the gold market has seen extreme volatility this month, but is it doing its job amidst this economic and financial and health crisis? Joining me now on the line is Gero of RBC Wealth Management. George, it's been too long. Welcome back to the show. Happy to speak with you. Hope you're safe above all.
Yes, and I can tell you that I have never seen anything like this in more than 50 years on the floors of the exchanges and being on the exchange boards. And as you know, I'm still on the COMEX board, and there have been some questions about some people who have physical problems getting delivery of their metal. And it's interesting, as I look down on 47th Street, which is very close to where my uptown office is, the 47th Street, and it seems that all the jewelry stores are closed, and the millennials that used to buy silver for a present for people who had not much demand this past Christmas for gold are now interested in gold,
Yep.
and the stores are shuttered because they are not essential, and therefore while the merchandise is there, the ability to acquire physical metal is not.
Well, let's talk about that because we've been covering this issue. Mostly the what I've been hearing is on the silver front is people are finding it difficult to get silver coins, and if they do, the premiums are just extremely high. And then do you ever really get your money back? So what are you seeing? What is your sense? Is there really a physical issue here on the silver and gold front?
Well, there is a physical transportation issue. There isn't an actual deliverable. Today we will have this afternoon COMEX options expiration, and everything seems to be doing very well normally. We will have a good options expiration. We will probably have a little volatility tomorrow because tonight options on COMEX become futures contracts tomorrow. And I tell you, the breakdown has been like just recently 3,500 in the put calls and 38,000 in the calls. And so, to make a long story short, those who sold the calls for income are trying to buy back today positions, which is why gold is up, even though the stock market is doing very well. And I think probably tomorrow you may see some extra selling and buying because people are seeing that margins have been increasing in gold to $8,350 per contract. And there are intraday margin calls also from the futures commissions merchants that hold the clients. So therefore, as there's more volatility in the markets and more margin calls in the markets, you're seeing more volatility.
George, what do you say to people? Because I don't know. I'm sure you're encountering this as well. Everyone, including people I went to kindergarten with, are asking me, should I be buying gold? And there's a lot of people I speak to who are kicking themselves that they didn't buy gold 6 months ago. Is it too late to get in?
How about even a month ago they could have bought gold, or even weeks ago when everything was for sale with the extreme margin calls and positions of everything from energy to grains, and all the hedge funds had margin calls and so forth, and people were selling what they could. They were selling gold. But gold is a misunderstood asset. And gold is actually a long-term additional asset for every portfolio and it's a currency, and it is convertible and instantly into any currency, and it is liquid and it is portable. And I can tell you, when I was a child growing up, I lived part of my life in Hungary and then later on in other countries. The most important thing was the ability to have some gold because it was the currency of choice and the haven of choice. And I think the haven status was misconstrued by a lot of people who thought gold is only a haven when stocks go down. Nobody is looking
and that's a really
forward.
Interesting point, because I think the number one question I was getting is, well, with the stock market tumbling the past few weeks. Why didn't gold just break through 1900, its original all-time high? Why isn't it above 2000? People so frustrated with the metal. What do you say to those people, George?
Because they don't understand, I think, that gold is really another currency and it's another asset. And it is a 5,000-year-old asset that maintains your purchasing power. It's not really always the best hedge against volatility in other assets, because sometimes it is sold in order to pay for holding other assets.
George, finally, you said you've never seen anything like this in your career. How are you navigating this situation?
Well, I have never seen anything like this. I was on the floors in 1987. I was on the floors in 08 and 09. And this is every time we have a major problem in the world, it is a different problem and the solutions are different. And today it's not like it was in 08 or another time when the banks had the problem. If you think about all of everything that was sold in the last couple of months and weeks, all that money is going to eventually have to find another home for assets, and it doesn't disappear. And so there will be a lot of liquid funds eventually. But for now, there are always constraints and there are problems. And I tell you, I've lived through the Germans and the Russians, and I've lived through all these other problems in the world. And 50 years on the floors, I've never seen anything like this.
Wow. And, we're both in New York City, George. Isn't it just surreal seeing the city just come to a standstill here?
Yes, it is. And I think that our legislators are all doing everything they can to help everyone and to maintain the health and welfare of everyone as best they can. And it's interesting, there will be, after the CFTC approves, another gold futures contract. And I think it's going to be very interesting because it will have expanded delivery options that include 100 troy ounce, 400 troy ounce, and 1 kilo bars.
Yeah, we saw that. So do you know any other information on that than the news that came out earlier this week?
It'll be a new contract. It will not be fungible. And there will be a spread market just like any other between one contract and another contract.
All right. We will keep an eye out on that news, George.
Absolutely.
Always a pleasure speaking with you. Come on more often.
We're within. Yes, you anytime you like. I'm always happy to be there, and I'm thinking that we're within hailing distance of 1,700, and price will make news when that happens.
Thank you so much, George. We'll speak to you soon. Be safe. Be well. Give my love to Gail.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. We will have much more for you on Kitco.com.